Okay, so this is one story that's been making the rounds lately, and I know I'm a few days late with this one. It's just that I've been busy with Anthem coverage and all that, but a lot of people have been asking for my take on this, so here we go. Fallout 76 is in a rough place right now. It had a disastrous launch, blunders continued weeks and months after release, technical issues like duplication glitches have woefully thrown the game off balance, and I can't imagine the game has maintained a healthy player base. And while the studio did finally release a roadmap for what we can expect from the game throughout 2019, whether Fallout 76 has any chance at redemption after the hole it's dug for itself remains uncertain, though I won't hold my breath. But until that roadmap is fulfilled, if Bethesda intends to have any chance at anything resembling a comeback for Fallout 76, they'll have to start by retaining what few loyal players they have left. Which is why when news began to spread that Bethesda has banned who appears to be one of their most ardent and loyal players, the internet reacted with incredulity. However, while many have taken to defending the banned player in disbelief, there are also those out there arguing that some things about the alleged victim's story doesn't completely add up, though I'll get to that once I explain the circumstances surrounding this situation. It all began with a post by Reddit user Glorf12, who published a thread titled, "Banned, I'm the 900 hours played guy." In the post, he linked to the following screenshot showing an email he was sent by Bethesda support regarding account suspension due to allegations that the user was duplicating items. The email reads as follows: "This account has violated the code of conduct and terms of service by exploiting a system issue that results in item duplication. We have determined that this account has acquired over 100,000 of one or more rare in-game items within 30 days of gameplay." The duped items in question, Bethesda alleged, are ammunition, and the email proceeded to list the number of various ammo types that the user owned. Apparently, the user's primary account has around 140,000 of the more rare ultrasight ammo on it, while a secondary account has 150,000.45 ammo, 225,000 ultrasight ammo, 72,000 5mm ammo, and 55,000 5.56 ammo in its inventory. So that's definitely a shit ton of ammo, and at a glance, you can kind of see how it might raise suspicions that foul play was involved. The email then concluded with this: "Due to the extent and scale of the violation and what the game data shows, both accounts' access to Fallout 76 have been suspended until such time as this issue is fixed in a future patch. As previously advised, when the fix is live and confirmed, we will reactivate these accounts and notify you that you are able to access the game again with them. This decision is final, and no further appeals will be considered in this matter." Now, if this user were indeed using item duplication glitches to obtain all that ammo, then this would be an open and shut case, but it's worth keeping in mind that this is someone who has played 900 hours of Fallout 76, making it possible to stockpile huge amounts of ammunition. Interestingly, the user claimed that he's never actually owned in excess of 100,000 of any particular item, including ammunition, claiming that this was a clerical error on Bethesda's part. As for how such an error could have occurred, well, the user does admit using two accounts to transfer items between characters, which as far as I'm aware isn't an exploit or a glitch, but rather a means to circumvent Fallout 76's limited storage system. The character on his primary account was at over level 450, whereas the character on a secondary account was at level 2, and one suspicion the user had was that when he exchanged items between the two characters and bypassers saw this happen, it raised red flags about a duper potentially trading high-level items to a low-level character, resulting in being reported for suspicious activity. That's all conjecture on the user's part though, and although I don't think that's an implausibility, we don't know whether that's what actually happened or not. Another reason for why the use of a mule account to carry items is important is because it might have contributed to the supposed clerical error on Bethesda's part, with support claiming that the user had hundreds of thousands of ammo while the user insisted he never owned over 100,000 of any one item. More specifically, the user claimed that he's never held more than 36,000 ammo at one time, with 36,000 being around how much of 5mm ammo he had in his collection last time he checked. So how could the game game detect that the user had far more ammo than what actually was in his collection? Well, we first have to discuss how the user exchanged items between characters. It essentially bogged down to him having two characters on his primary account, one being his main super high level one, and the other one being a secondary character build he's making, and using a character in his secondary account as a glorified backpack to carry his stash and act as an intermediary of items, with the user opening simultaneous sessions of Fallout 76 to make exchanges happen. With that in mind, the user's theory in regards to what happened was that Fallout 76 will detect when you pick something up and keep count of that, but it won't keep track of where you got items from or if items were dropped. Assuming this theory is true, assuming the game only detects incoming ammo without taking into account outgoing ones, if a user who's put 900 hours into Fallout 76 and has tens of thousands of ammo keeps exchanging bulks of them back and forth between characters, the game might tally up that the user has picked up hundreds of thousands of ammo rather than detect the exact number of ammo in their inventory. This is all just the theory, of course, and the plausibility of this theory is contingent on the user telling the truth that he really doesn't own more than a few tens of thousands of any one ammo type rather than the hundreds of thousands Bethesda is claiming. But the thing is, the user has not been able to provide any evidence to back up his claims, and that's because his account is banned, and so he can't access his characters and take screenshots showing the amount of ammunition in his inventory to make his case. So while the user has a compelling argument to make if he's telling the truth, we are looking at a scenario in which it's just his word against Bethesda's. Many have also called into question the notion that the user played 900 hours of Fallout 76 since its November 14th, 2018 release date. From launch date to the day of the ban, which was February 18th, 2019, 96 days have elapsed, and what that means is that the user would have had to play over 9 hours every day to reach the 900 hours mark. Now, the fact that one could play that many hours of a game like Fallout 76 will seem astounding to say the least, and I can understand this would raise some eyebrows, but for my part, who am I to judge or say that such a feat isn't possible? It is not impossible that out of hundreds of thousands of players, a handful of them will spend a ridiculous amount of time in a game, even one that wasn't received favorably by critics and consumers alike, just as there are a handful of players out of hundreds of thousands who will spend a shit ton of money on microtransactions. While I get why people are suspicious about the possibility that someone could play what amounts to over 9 hours of Fallout 76 every single day for 96 days straight, I'd hardly call that an impossible scenario. The other defense that's being made in favor of Bethesda is that they provided exact stats about the amount of ammo on hand in both of the user's accounts, and assuming these numbers are indeed correct, assuming that these numbers display the amount of ammo in inventory rather than the amount of ammo picked up, then the argument could certainly be made that the user is lying. The real kicker when it comes to these figures are the sheer amount of ultrasight ammo that the user has stockpiled, which can only be crafted by acquiring the rare ultrasight material. While I myself cannot attest to the math, many users have noted that even someone who played Fallout 76 for 900 hours would not be able to stockpile the amount of ultrasight ammo that Bethesda claims the user has in his two accounts inventory. In other words, the user would have most certainly have to be cheating and duping in order to acquire what amounts to hundreds of thousands of ultrasight ammunition. But I'll once again say that this is only assuming Bethesda's numbers are correctly tracking total number of ammo in inventory rather than total number of ammo picked up. And the thing is, it's never specified which one it is in the account suspension email. The specific wording used here is that Bethesda has determined the account has acquired over 100,000 ultrasight ammo. Does acquired mean amount of items picked up, or does acquired mean amount of items on hand? This distinction is vital to understanding whether the ban was justified or not, as tallying up amount of rare ammo picked up through mule account trading is a very different thing from stockpiling rare ammo obtained through duplication bugs and glitches. It's a question of whether we take the user's word for it or whether we trust Bethesda's stats. It's a conundrum because the user does seem to present a plausible argument, but he has no evidence to back up his claims. And Bethesda does have raw numbers, and they're the ones who can actually track Fallout 76 data. But the company and its shoddy support department have given us many reasons in the recent past to be vigilant and to believe that clerical errors are well within the realm of possibility, especially with a game like Fallout 76 that launched so broken and half-baked, not to mention all the other blunders surrounding the title. Now, while Bethesda stated in the email that this decision is final and that no further appeals would be considered on the matter, they did eventually reach out to the user on Reddit after this thread exploded, having garnered almost 16,000 upvotes. A Bethesda employee posted the following message in response: "Hey there, when you get a moment, I sent you a PM to get your ticket number so our support team can investigate this." From the looks of it though, the user hasn't had much luck with getting his account unbanned, with the last edit of the thread noting that he's still banned, that the latest patch didn't unban him as the account suspension email suggested, and that he would submit one last ticket before giving Warframe a try. So that's where we're at right now with what is overall an inconclusive case. We don't know for sure whether the user duped items and got caught in the act by Bethesda, or if the exchange of ammunition between primary and mule account raised false flags within a potentially flawed cheat detection system and resulted in an erroneous ban. For my part, I do think the user's perspective has merit, and the fact that he even managed to write up an extensive guide explaining his favorite farming locations and his entire farming process further corroborates the notion that he really did play 900 hours of Fallout 76 in 96 days, and that he really did manage to stockpile an ungodly amount of ammunition, rare or otherwise, fair and square. At the same time, though, I cannot completely dismiss the suspicious numbers Bethesda is showing here, which, if accurate, would be pretty damning for the user given the mathematical impossibility of earning that much ultra-sight ammunition, even with 900 hours of playtime. But until Bethesda lifts the ban and allows the user to take screenshots proving that Bethesda's representation of the situation is erroneous, or until Bethesda goes into more details regarding the figures they presented to disprove the user's defense, it's hard to say with absolute certainty who is in the right and who is in the wrong. On one hand, if Bethesda really was justified in their ban, if the user really did duplicate items and cheat their way through Fallout 76, then shame on the user for ruining the experience for everybody else and for exploiting attention to unjustly sully somebody else's name. On the other hand, if it turns out the user really was innocently banned, if it turns out this was a clerical error on Bethesda's part, they will have banned one of the only remaining dedicated and loyal Fallout 76 players simply because they couldn't keep their shit together, which would only add to the enormous amount of embarrassment Fallout 76 turned out to be. This is one man's perspective anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on all of this in the comments below. Let us know which side of the argument you're leaning more towards. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.